this, and all of these have to do with this lesson. There are things that will most likely have an impact on businesses, which in return may have an impact on you. Let's put this into perspective. Our lives revolves around having to satisfy our needs. For example, we eat when we are hungry. Almost every need we have is taken care of by some other company. So we eat because we are hungry, but we buy the food we eat from a grocery shop, and this shop in turn procures the goods they sell from other companies. You get the idea. Companies need to understand and be aware of how the business environment impacts them today, but also what possible impact they may expect in the future. The business environment has three parts: the micro, the market, and macro environment. So let's look at each one individually. The microenvironment is the business itself. So here the business owner and the employees work within the framework of company policies, perhaps some rules and regulations, or even legislation from government. Each business may compile their policies in such a way that it suits them and the manner in which they operate and apply these policies. A business owner has a strong degree of control over the business. Here plans are made and the vision and mission statement is created. So to explain the degree of control, if you have a staff member who has a particular issue, you can deal with that and you have control over how you deal with it and what decisions you make to rectify the situation. But when we look at the external environments, namely the market and macro environment, you will see that the business owner has less control over these. The business does, however, experience challenges and pressures from the outside, and this is where we need to look at the external environments, the first being the market environment. Here we need to pay attention to who our customers are, what their needs are, and how they go about finding individuals or companies that can satisfy these needs. A customer's behavior in how, when, and where they purchase goods and services will dictate how your business will reach their customer. Most companies need to deal with suppliers. We live in a world where one depends on the other. Suppliers can be beneficial or detrimental to your business. The goods you purchase from your suppliers are used by you to either resell to your customer or help you create the products that you do sell. So let's consider an example of how a supplier can impact a business. Let's assume there's a wedding planner who uses a local bakery for the wedding cake. On the day of the wedding, you realize that the delivered cake is stale and old. No matter how well the wedding was planned or how well the wedding planner did their work, the bride will be unhappy. The supplier had a negative effect on the wedding and therefore the business planner. The business owner must also be aware of what their competitors are doing. A competitor is a person, business, team, or organization that competes against you or your company. In business, we call a close competitor a rival. In other words, rivals are the same size and make similar products to you. If two companies are leaders in their field, we refer to them as arch rivals. The macro environment has many elements. To make it easy to remember, we refer to these elements as PESTLE. Now, the PESTLE analysis consists of components that influences the business environment, and each letter in the acronym denotes a set of factors that directly or indirectly affects an industry. So let's look at P, political factors. These factors are all about how and to what degree a government intervenes in the economy or a certain industry. Basically, all the influences that a government has on your business could be classified here. This can include government policy, political stability or instability, corruption, foreign trade policy, tax laws, labor laws, environmental law, and trade restrictions. Furthermore, the government may have a profound impact on a nation's education system, infrastructure, and health regulations, and these are all factors that need to be taken into account when assessing the attractiveness of a potential market. A recent example is the impact lockdowns had globally, and governments around the world brought many industries to a halt during the COVID-19 pandemic. The E stands for economic factors. How does a country's economy perform? Factors include economic growth, exchange rates, inflation rates, interest rates, disposable income of consumers, and unemployment rates. These factors have a direct impact and an indirect long-term impact on a company, since it affects the purchasing power of consumers and could possibly change demand and supply models within the economy. The purchasing power of consumers refers to their disposable income. Now, disposable income is defined as money that a person has left over to spend as they wish after they have paid all of their required monthly expenses. For an example, disposable income is that 500 Rand that you have left in your bank account once you have settled all of your other outstanding accounts for a specific period. Consequently, it also affects the way that companies can price their products, knowing to what degree customers have disposable or very little disposable income. The S in PESTEL stands for social factors. This dimension of the general environment represents the demographic characteristics, norms, customs, and values of the population within which the organization operates. This includes population trends such as the population growth rate, age distribution, income distribution, career attitudes, health consciousness, lifestyle attitudes, and cultural barriers. These factors especially are important for marketers when targeting certain customers. In addition, it also says something about the local workforce and its willingness to work under certain conditions. The T stands for technological factors. These factors pertain to innovations in technology that may affect the operations of the industry and the market favorably or unfavorably. This refers to technology incentives, the level of innovation, automation, research and development activities, technological change, and the amount of technological awareness that a market possesses. These factors may influence decisions to enter or not enter certain industries, to launch or not launch certain products, or to outsource production activities abroad. By knowing what is going on technology-wise, you may be able to prevent your company from spending a lot of money on developing a technology that would become outdated very soon and may not be as disruptive as you thought. Now, speaking of disruptive technologies, many disruptive technologies has placed pressure on specific industries. Just think about the effect Uber had on the taxi industry, Airbnb on the hotel industry, and online shopping on shops in malls. The E is for environmental factors. Now, environmental factors have come to the forefront relatively recently. They have become important due to the increasing scarcity of raw materials, pollution targets, and carbon footprint targets set by governments. Legal factors. Although these factors may have some overlap with political factors, they include more specific laws, such as discrimination laws, antitrust laws, employment laws, consumer protection acts, copyright, patent laws, and health and safety directives. It is clear that companies need to know what is and what is not legal in order to trade successfully and ethically. If an organization trades globally, this becomes especially tricky, since each country has its own set of rules and regulations. In addition, you want to be aware of any potential changes in legislation and the impact it may have on your business in the future. Recommended is to have a legal advisor or attorney to assist you with these kinds of things. Therefore, you can see it is important for a business owner to scan the business environment and collect as much information as possible so that you can make informed decisions to keep your company current, ensure that your company is profitable, and look at its long-term survival.